You're watching UATV News. My name is Inna Kosinska. Good evening. The Security Service of Ukraine prevented a terrorist attack in Donetsk region. Not far from the contact line, they detained a local resident with a homemade bomb. On the orders of the self-proclaimed authorities, the attacker was going to blow up the local power station. Therefore, now he could face from 8 to 15 years in prison for involvement in a terrorist organization. To achieve sustainable peace in Donbass, economic potential even is more important than military one. The attention to security in the region on the part of Western partners will increase as soon as foreign companies start investing there. This was stated by the advisor on information policy of the Ukrainian delegation to the Trilateral Contact Group, Alexei Arestovich.
Ambassador of France said that they are ready to invest $70 million in the Popasnyansky district of the Luhansk region to change the water supply system. I can informally say that such discussions are constantly taking place around our delegation in the Trilateral Contact Group. There are countries and international organizations that want to invest in certain areas of Donetsk and Luhansk regions.
COVID-19 infection rate flew back to lower than a 10,000 mark. This happened for the first time over the past couple of weeks. The decline is explained with the effectiveness of measures taken by government, in particular the weakened quarantine, the Ministry of Health says. Health officials add there are no grounds for the full lockdown.
9,946 Ukrainian residents have been registered positive for COVID-19 over the past day. This is the first time daily rate shows below 10,000 since 2 weeks of the observations. Kyiv city, Dnipro and Odesa regions are among leaders of the anti-race due to the lack of the bed capacity and oxygen supply at the local level. Representatives are set to conduct snap checks in hospitals.
After visiting the regional hospital in Zhytomyr, which according to the stats supposed to have 117 free beds provided with oxygen, it turned out that this is not entirely true, that these beds are particularly used for patients recovering after stroke and heart attacks.
Despite the sharp surge in infections in the capital, the ministry is still unwilling to set in use clinics engaged with treating government agencies. Meanwhile, their capacity amounts to additional 11,000 beds collectively, as stated by Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko.
The situation is complicated. Our today's key agenda are clear logistics, plan and coordination of all government agencies, all branches. And not just talks about the lockdown, because the virus is spreading rapidly. All issues have to be settled.
One of the Kyiv city hospitals has already been refocused to admit COVID-19 patients. The two-floor building is capable of 50 oxygen concentrators and 12 resuscitation spots.
This institution could admit 80 or 100 patients. Now there are 4 medical teams here. The standard provides 20 patients per team, and that's exactly what we take into account. At the same time, the situation shows that medical team is able to serve from 30 to 40 patients.
The Dnipro hospital alone has used more than 2.5 tons of oxygen over the past 24 hours. The clinic holds more than 100 patients with coronavirus. 2 of them are severely ill, have been on a ventilator for a week, and every night about a dozen new patients is being delivered.
Although the protocol of treatment has sustained thousands of edits, each patient sets a new start. All the doctors at the Mechnikov hospital are trying to fight for the person's life, as it would be the first case of the COVID disease.
Due to the rapid surge of contractions, Odesa hospitals starve not only for the bed occupancy, but for the specialists as well, particularly members of the mobile medical groups.
We had to close down 2 wards due to COVID-19. The clinic number 8 had to close down 1 of the wards. All hospitals have the similar situation. At the moment, we are forming teams. There is a catastrophic lack of anesthesiologists and resuscitators.
The coronavirus is far from recession in the Donetsk region. The part of Donetsk region controlled by Kyiv has confirmed 200 contracted of the past day.
22,807 people have been diagnosed with COVID-19 in laboratories. Almost half of them, 11,460 people, have already recovered. Unfortunately, 404 people died due to complications. 19 of them were medical workers. Laboratories in the region received 8,011 samples. This is 1,144 on average. Almost 8,500 PCR tests have been conducted, an average of 1,210. As of today, 675 samples samples remain to be tested.
Ukraine is rated 29th in the European race for the COVID-19 mortality level. This is 5 times lower than in Poland and 3 times lower than in France or the United Kingdom. Weekend quarantine partially curbed the spread of the infections, reported by Nick Starkov, Svetlana Sich for UATV News.
100% effective. The American company Moderna reports that in severe cases of COVID-19, its vaccine alleviates the course of the disease in almost 100% of cases. The manufacturer has already prepared documents for the registration of the drug in the USA and Europe. Our correspondents have more details.
The third phase of testing at the Moderna company lasted more than 2 months. During this time, only 196 out of 30,000 participants became infected with COVID-19. Among the sick, only 11 patients were vaccinated. The rest received a placebo. The results showed that the drug is effective in 94.1% of cases in general and 100% effective against severe forms of coronavirus.
On a personal level, when we saw the first interim results, I think we were all really relieved and enthusiastic. I can tell you when I saw the final results last night, they came in a little bit earlier than we had planned for. I allowed myself to cry for the first time.
The company has already begun the process of drug registration in the United States. The first meeting of the relevant commission is scheduled for December the 17th.
We anticipate that the benefit of this vaccine is going to be quite significant, and we really look to the ability to deploy this initially under emergency use authorization, which I hope FDA will grant us, so that we can start to change the shape of this pandemic and turn it around.
In the meantime, air carriers are intensively preparing for the start of full-scale production and transportation of vaccines in December-January.
We expect the volumes for the vaccines come on top of the regular volumes. However, we do expect that they come gradually. So the first ones will probably come in December, January, and from there on, new vaccines will be approved. The additional capacity that is needed for that is something that we're planning for. So we do expect to be able to handle the additional volumes needed for vaccine transportation.
Several global manufacturers have previously reported more than 95% efficiency for their vaccines. Among them are Pfizer and BioNTech. Russians rated the effectiveness of their Sputnik V vaccine at 92%. And AstraZeneca said its vaccine, which is being developed with Oxford University, was 70% effective. Reported by Vadim Kramer, UATV News.
A record for champions titles. 9-year-old Kyiv resident Kyrylo Okhrimenko decided to add Ukraine's record for push-ups on one arm per minute to his jiu-jitsu champion awards. Our journalists will tell you more about the record attempt.
Small but determined, Kyrylo Okhrimenko decided to take part in the record for push-ups on one arm on the birthday of his idol, Bruce Lee. Under the supervision of TV, with the support of his family and friends, Kyrylo made 48 push-ups in a minute.
48 push-ups, and we have a new record holder, Kyrylo Okhrimenko. Congratulations!
Kyrylo does not hide his emotions. It was his decision to set a record. He likes to win, and he is ready to work hard and a lot for this. I didn't motivate him, he made it himself. The restless 9-year-old athlete plans to set new record in the nearest future. I plan to do my next record on 2 fingers on one hand. I tried it before, but the idea came to me to do it on one hand only now, and I'll come back to this. At the same time, Kyrylo has other interests as well. He does well at school too. Moreover, his favorite subject is not physical education, but mathematics.
He's in a 3rd grade now. He wrote almost all the final tests in 4th grade mathematics, and from the next semester he starts the 5th grade program. Physics and its different sections are also among his interests. Now he is fond of in magnetism.
But the young champion sees his future in sports, in one of the jiu-jitsu styles, in particular Brazilian. He dreams of glorifying his name and his country all over the world. Reported by Vadim Kramer, Oleg Shumeiko, UATV News.
Cold water against COVID-19. Winter swimmers from Dnipro decided to fight the pandemic in a peculiar way. Once a week they get together to take a dip in icy water. They say it's impossible to catch any virus after that. Our correspondent knows more.
50 people of different age come together to the banks of the Dnipro River near the pier. This is a winter beach organized specifically for them. Before diving, they warm up.
По 2 повторения. Начали. Раз, два.
Natalia has been practicing winter swimming for 11 years. The woman says she's forgotten about diseases and medicines long ago.
You don't have any colds. I don't understand what does it mean to have a cold. My heart is perfect.
Alla came from the suburbs of the Dnipro city. She decided to plunge into the cold water for the first time. Before that, for a long time, she's been taking a cold shower at home. She didn't expect to see so many young people.
I was glad to see so many young people. It's great that they are taking care of their health and that they want to feel good. Great, amazing.
After a short swim, Alla shares her impressions. The winter beach in Dnipro was founded 8 years ago by a local resident, Maxim Shishkin. At first, he swam alone, later friends joined him. Then they started sharing impressions in social networks. Soon the number of those willing to become winter swimmers grew significantly.
We are all united by something terrible in the face of cold water. It seems to me that not everyone could dare to do such a thing. And when there are 30, 40 people here, it's great.
Not only adults, but also children join the process.
It is cold at first, but it gets warmer, and everything is great.
But experienced swimmers assure that preparation is very important for swimming in the ice water.
The best time to start is fall, that is, as the water cools down, so that you do it regularly, not immediately into ice, but step by step.
Winter swimmers say that this sport could be extremely useful for one's health, especially in times of pandemic. Reported by Nick Starkov, Natalia Gusak, UATV News.
A competition for the best names for 2 porcupine cubs is taking place at the Odesa Zoo. Mom abandoned them at birth. The staff fed the babies with a pipette. Porcupines are already 2 months old. They love vegetables and cookies. Soon the animals will be transferred to the common aviary. But before that, visitors will choose their names. The competition will run until the end of December. The results will be announced before the new year.
We try not to make them tame. We plan to release them to the porcupine family, and it will be in 2 or 2.5 months. It all depends on the weather. They are highly adaptable, but it is important that they do not get into the cold from the warm room.
That's all for this hour. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook pages. Stay safe and good night.